Douglas Allen Bickford. It is the 2nd of August 2022 at 8 a.m. here Pacific Standard Time, broadcasting live out of my 105-year-old house here in Klamath Falls, Oregon, which is my hometown. I am a self-taught psychiatrist, therapist, and counselor. I have thousands and thousands of hours studying how the brain functions, the science of the mind. I specialize in emotional, sexual, and physical abuse. There are billions of people on the planet that have had all three of those done to them, okay? I specialize in that because I am a victim and I can help you. I've learned how to help heal myself. I can help you heal yourself. It's a process. It takes time. You can call me at 458-232-5238. I am offering this service free of charge, except for you will have to spend $16 on this book right here on Amazon, brand new. It'll come right to your front door. 1 hour a week, 4 times a month, and I can help you heal yourself. We can all heal ourselves, okay? So, like I said, call me at 458-232 to schedule your very first session. And I don't know how long the therapy will last. It'll last as long as you want it to last, okay? But it's free of charge. And I know what I'm talking about because I've healed myself. And that's exactly why I'm on Facebook and YouTube. I'm on here for no other reason than to help you all out there. And I'm the absolute only one doing this, okay? Especially free of charge. But anyway, so in order to attain a healthy mind so you can let go of the past and let go of all that bad that's happened to you, you have to attain and maintain a thing called self-esteem. Comes out of this book right here, Dr. Susanna McMahon, what self-esteem is. Most people don't even know what the two words mean because nobody talks about it. It is also known as self-love, self-confidence, self-worth, right? It's how you feel about yourself from inside. Think of self-esteem as this, right? We've all been in romantic relationships. When you first meet that person, you're bragging to your friends. You're bragging to your family members. You're telling everybody how great these people are. They're your soulmate. Well, people are doing the same thing, right? You're on cloud 9, both of you are. You can't wait to hang out with them. No, everything. Anyway, what self-esteem is that good feeling towards you. Dr. Susanna McMahon, 73, lives in Madrid, Texas, has a doctorate in psychology, makes her a psychiatrist, has a master's in philosophy, has had thousands and thousands of clients throughout her life. She wrote this book in the 90s. It was published in 1992. Every lesson in it talks about how we've been trained and taught not to have a healthy mind, not to have self-esteem, okay? So, as a psychiatrist, and to help her clients that were hiring her and paying her big bucks, unlike what I'm doing here and giving it to you for nothing, okay? Except for the cost of a book, and the cost of your time, and the cost of your honesty, okay? Had to come up with a concept to give to her clients so they could give themselves self-esteem. Nobody can give you self-esteem except for you. And she had to come up with this because in order to help them fix their unhealthy mind, she had to come up with a way for them to give themselves self-esteem, because you can't have a healthy mind without self-esteem. So here's that very simple concept she came up with. It's called mirror therapy. You look at yourself in the mirror and say 4 things. Say, I love you. I love my inner child. I'm worthy to be loved. I'm worthy to love. Say, I'm full of goodness. Those 4 things to yourself in the mirror daily without fail will give you self-esteem on steroids. I kid you not. You'll feel it the very first time you do it. But to maintain that self-esteem, self-worth, self-confidence, self-love, you have to practice it. It's like lifting weights. If you start lifting weights and you stop, you have to start over from scratch because you lose muscle mass. Self-esteem is the exact same thing for the brain. So you'll have to say that to yourself every day for the rest of your life in the mirror. It'll take you less than 10 seconds. I love Douglas Allen Bickford. I love my inner child. I'm worthy to be loved. I'm worthy to love. I am full of goodness. I've been saying it for well over a year, like 19, 20 months now. Actually, yeah, 20 months for sure. Okay. And now I have self-confidence because self-esteem is also self-confidence, right? That's why I'm spreading this message, and I have been for well over a year on Facebook and YouTube. Excuse me. Anyway, so plan on saying it the rest of your life. Like I said, it'll take less than 10 seconds. The reason that she came up with mirror therapy and why it's so powerful is it's a psychological event. We cannot lie to ourselves in the mirror, okay? So, we're all in front of the mirror. So that's why you can very easily criticize yourself in the mirror, whether you think it or say it, because that's how you feel about yourself. You don't feel good about yourself, so you can't say good things to yourself in the mirror because you can't lie to yourself in the mirror. So, there's good news. The very first time you do it, folks, it's going to feel very strange and awkward. In fact, you'll feel so weird about it. Just me telling you to do this, you want to turn me off, right? So, the very first time you do it, folks, is you'll have to force yourself to do it, like I did. And then the more you say it, the more you feel it, and the more you believe it. And then, once you attain and maintain self-esteem, you'll never want to lose that feeling. You don't even know what you're missing by not having it. Okay, I have it now. I am full of it because I attained and maintain it by those positive affirmations to myself in the mirror every day without fail. It's the first thing I do. I'm crawling out of bed saying good stuff about myself. The more you say good about yourself, the more it's going to come to you. And I just posted a bunch of pictures of my house and stuff. What I've been blessed with, I call God the Great Spirit. Everything happens for a reason. I have been blessed beyond blessed beyond blessed. And because, I mean, it's like, it's unreal what has happened. Anyway, that's why I'm here. I believe that I'm here for a reason, teaching you how to do this. Excuse me. Anyway, so the reason it's the absolute most important thing you can have as a human being, okay, to attain and maintain self-esteem. And here's why. You can't be content without it. What content means is you feel good about how, where, and what you are. It's also known as internal peace. There are 11 things that people are using to try to be content. They are all the social media, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, drugs, alcohol, sex, food, television, gambling, religion, another person, material possessions, or money. Those 11 things are known as externals. They're outside of yourself. They will make you feel good temporarily, but it never lasts, okay? Think about the alcohol and the drug high. It feels good at first, but then that high goes away and you have to do more. The alcohol buzz or the high off the drug, right? And then the other 9 things are exactly the same thing. there's absolutely only one thing that's going to make you permanently content, and that is to attain and maintain self-esteem, and it is by the 4 things to yourself in the mirror. Then you will be content permanently, and you will have internal peace. Okay? The next thing that happens because of no self-esteem, we can't love or be loved without self-esteem. So when you get in a romantic relationship, you'll attract somebody without it if you don't have it. If you have it, you'll attract somebody with it. So when you go in without it, whether you marry them or you just get together, right? After the good feeling goes away, and that's when all the fights and the arguments start. The cheating on each other, the name calling, getting in the car, going down the road, can't get away from the maniac enough. You go to therapy, you get counseling, nothing ever fixes it. Because they don't teach you how to love yourself in therapy. I've been in therapy 5 or 6 times, and none of them ever taught me how to love myself. Not to have self-esteem, right? So anyway, so the relationship becomes toxic, and then because it becomes toxic, you split up. If you didn't marry him, and if you married him, you divorce. And then the same 2 people will go jump back in another relationship, and the exact same thing will happen because you got in another relationship without self-esteem. That's the way it works. And there's nothing you can do about it except for attain and maintain self-esteem, because you cannot have a healthy relationship until you get it, okay? Because you got to love yourself before you ever get in another relationship, and we're being taught just the opposite. It comes from the televisions, it comes from the music, it comes from everything. You know, we have to love somebody before we ever love ourselves. You know. So anyway, the next thing that will happen, and 2 that got together with no self-esteem, is those 2 people will stay in that toxic relationship forever. There's a lot of people doing that too. And then, so they both know it's a bad relationship. They sleep in separate bedrooms, and name calling and all that's still going on. Their whole relationship for years. And then all the emotional, sexual, and physical abuse that those 2 dished out to their children and themselves, right? And then anybody else just gets swept under the rug by all the family. And it becomes a dysfunctional family at that point. And then dysfunctional families pump out dysfunctional families. That's their children get into dysfunctional relationships. And then it just goes down the line. This cycle continues. And the very last thing that will happen, and 2 that got together with no self-esteem, they'll just exit out of the romantic scene and go, screw it, I can't find anybody to love me. I can't find anybody to love, so I'm just going to be alone the rest of my life. And then, but they'll be just as miserable alone as they were in the relationship, because you can't be content without self-esteem. Okay? So there's a solution to my style of therapy. I am a self-taught therapist. Okay? And the solution is for all parties involved to say 4 things to themselves in the mirror daily without fail, and then get this book and get the other many concepts in this book that will fix your unhealthy mind and give you self-esteem on steroids, so you can get a healthy mind and you can get in a healthy relationship. And if you're in a toxic relationship and the person that you're with doesn't want to change, but you want to change, it'll give you the courage and the strength to remove yourself from that relationship so you won't get abused anymore. Okay? So, all that said and done, that's the stuff that happens to people that don't have self-esteem and get involved without somebody, or get involved with somebody, and the ones out there all alone. So anyway, I'm going through this book one lesson at a time, and here's that next lesson. Lesson 74, when do I know it's time to leave a relationship? The word dysfunction, when used in the relationship context, literally means the relationship is not working. not functioning in a healthy manner. There are large degrees of difference among dysfunctional relationships. Sometimes a relationship that is stale or boring may feel dysfunctional. External stressors can also feel dysfunctional when they create unusual or unfamiliar patterns of behavior. Almost all relationships go through periods of being less functional than usual. These normal patterns in most relationships need to be contrasted with the severely dysfunctional relationships. The latter are the ones which involve abuse, addiction, physical or emotional destructiveness, or harm to the involved members. When the potential for abuse or serious harm is high, the victim needs to leave the relationship as quickly as possible. I left my fourth marriage because this woman threatened to kill a third cat, and I wasn't going to let her do it. She had killed 2 of my cats. I let her do it because of no self-esteem, and I had to accept that and face the pain of that. Forgive myself for letting her do it. Forgive her for doing it. Okay, in the first place, and I've been dealing with this for 21 months as of today, and it's getting better because I learned how to heal myself. We cannot take care of ourselves emotionally until we are assured of our physical safety. We cannot work on change and growth when our energies are being consumed with basic survival needs. We have the right, and we owe it to ourselves, to put ourselves in safe environments. If we have the slightest possibility of doing so, we do not have to choose to stay in a victim role if there is any way out. Emotional safety is as important as physical safety. You cannot function to the best of your abilities if you're being emotionally abused. If you are involved with someone emotionally destructive to you, stop trying to change him or her and leave. If you're living with an alcoholic or an addict who expresses no interest in working on changing, you are better off leaving this person with the addiction rather than trying to deal with it. My fourth wife was an alcoholic. It was just wine, she said. And I would plead and beg with her to quit drinking. Okay? But it just made it worse. Remember, the addict's first concern is toward what she is addicted to. This stuff's happening to a lot of you out there. When you ever start watching my videos, you'll know what I'm talking about. You cannot come before the addiction until the addict is willing to give it up. The success of an intervention process, tough love, with a dysfunctional family always involves the fact that the addict must choose between the addiction and the partner or the family members. The addict cannot have both at the same time. No matter how painful the leaving may be, in the long run there will be less pain than staying in a hopeless situation. You have the responsibility towards yourself and your vulnerable children to remove yourselves from an abusive environment. Remember, safety ranks as primary need for humans and animals. It is more basic than sleep, food, or sex. Do not allow yourself to remain in an unsafe environment if there is any means of escape. That's exactly what happened to me. This woman was going to kill my cat, and he is alive and kicking because I left her. You do not deserve to be in danger. What about other relationships? The ones where there is no danger, but they are not functioning well. What about being bored or unhappy with the relationship? How do you know if and when to leave these cases? A good rule here is to make no quick or rash decisions. Take some time and get some help. Think about the things you feel are missing from the relationship and work on the ones that you can take care of by yourself. If you lack self-esteem, you may be placing unreasonable demands upon your partner in the relationship. If you have illusions and unrealistic expectations about what the relationship can do for you, you need to focus on these and change them. Do not leave a relationship just because you're bored or unhappy without trying to change yourself. No relationship can always make you happy or stimulated. No relationship can do for you what you're not willing to do for yourself first. If you do leave and do not work on your... This is like one of the first chapters I read out of this book, or lessons. And I read this and I was like, I got to go through the pain. It was my fourth marriage. If you do leave and do not work on your own self-esteem, you will just take all the garbage with you and it will cause rot in your succeeding relationships. Remember that self-esteem is not a relationship issue, but an individual decision. You learn and practice self-esteem before you practice social interest. In other words, you get self-esteem before you get in a relationship, before you can have a healthy relationship, just like I said. The relationship cannot make you healthy. It can only make yourself healthy. Too many relationships fail unnecessarily because one or more or both partners are involved in the weak ego, which means you got to have more stuff, right? This woman I was with, it was never enough. And we had a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 5-acre farm with everything coming out of our ears. All the closets were full of junk. Everything was full. The barn was full. The house was full. The shop, 1,200 square foot shop, was full of junk. Stuff we never used, okay? But it was never enough. That's what the weak ego is. These people involved in the weak ego and expect their needs to be met from the externals. Those are those 11 things. These people will relationship hop until they die or learn they must give themselves what they're looking for. Then there are those that stay in unhealthy relationships far too long. And that's the second thing people do, folks. These usually are codependents who are caught up in the I can change the other cycle. These people do not identify themselves as the problem, but are consumed with the other. I know one couple, my ex-in-laws, been together 70 years, and they hate each other. And they popped out dysfunctional children. I married the daughter, okay, one of the daughters. These people, they need to be needed, to people please, and to caretake. Again, they're looking for something outside of themselves to change. Remember, you cannot control anything outside of yourself, and you cannot change anyone but yourself. If you cannot learn and practice self-esteem in the relationship, leave the relationship. If for any reason that is out of your control, you cannot be who you are in the relationship, leave the relationship. Try to leave without blame and recognize you are part in the sick cycle and take care of yourself. Do not make yourself a hostage to a sick relationship. You stay in a relationship that you are physically and emotionally safe in, that allows you to change and work on yourself. You stay when you can work on your own needs and wants, and the relationships allows you these freedoms. You stay in a relationships that are going through tough times, that are short-term or that are not due to the relationship itself. You stay when you can see the change is possible, not unrealistic. You stay until you know that you have done the best you can do and the relationship remains dysfunctional. In other words, you stay until you can leave with a clear conscience. You can leave and still feel good about yourself. You stay until you can leave with love. Woo! There's another very important lesson for you folks. I can be your therapist, self-taught. Call me. Schedule your first appointment, 458-232-5238. I know how the brain functions. I have studied, like I said, thousands of hours. The science of the mind, okay, how it works. I can help you because I was a victim. I'm a victim of emotional, physical, and sexual abuse by my parents. So I can help you heal just like I healed myself. And we can all heal ourselves, folks. It's all up to you. Call me. 458 again, 458-232-5238. Have a great day. I'll talk to you tomorrow.